All right, Conor, we are rolling, and we're back here with our live coverage of the Schwab Impact Conference in beautiful San Francisco. This is goRIA, of course. And we're here today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, creating all kinds of content. And what I love about coming to these conferences is the access to the talent, and this is no exception to the rule. We have with us right now Conor Anderson, who's a partner at AdvisorAssist. So Conor, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
All right, so look, as we were discussing a little bit off camera, what we like to do is answer one of two questions. Why should advisors think about going RIA, and how can they go RIA? And you must hear this all the time. So I know one of the biggest fear points when advisors in the broker-dealer space are looking to go RIA is compliance. And I know that's right in your wheelhouse. How do you help these advisors make the transition and then alleviate the fear of staying compliant?
Yeah, it's a great question and something that we deal with day in and day out, right? So over the course of the tenure that we've launched and run AdvisorAssist, we've launched about 15 to 20,000 RIAs, both at the state level, but also at the SEC level. Ooh. And every single one of those conversations that we have with those wirehouse advisors, who's going to be the CCO? I might be the 24, I might be the branch office manager, but I'm not the compliance person.
I laugh quickly because we had that conversation when I went independent. We use you guys as well.
Sure.
I was the first one to say not it because I didn't want to be the CCO. So our partner John Kokesberger, who does a great job for us, is our named CCO. And we actually have a new one now, as a matter of fact, Deanna Hutchinson,
yep.
Who's taken over in his place. So anyway.
Absolutely. So our first object when we're talking to those individuals is to really kind of set the anxiety level down, right? At the end of the day, what we like to say is compliance is in every functional operational item of an RIA. So if you have your head on a swivel as it relates to how to run your business, know your clients, understand the operational and the investment kind of outfit landscape for your clients, 9 times out of 10, you're already covering a lot of those compliance obligations, right? You need, at that point, some infrastructure and some guidance as to effectively how to document and how to show a regulator in the future that you have everything in lockdown.
Right, and I think that's so important because I think most advisors do right by their clients.
Sure.
But that's not good enough, right? You have to prove, I believe the term is, you have to evidence the fact that you're doing right by your clients. And I think that's what these broker-dealer advisors are worried about because, at Mother Merrill, they're taking care of all of that in the back office.
Back office, yep.
But when they make that leap into the RIA space, they feel a lot of anxiety about how are they going to dot those I's and cross those T's. So how do you guys help them do that?
Really, at the end of the day, our favorite saying is if you didn't document it, you didn't do it, right? So throughout your daily process, when you're working with a client, when you're going through the investment due diligence process, you're speaking with an investment product provider, document it. Right? Create your notes, have a books and records infrastructure that you can leverage and rely back on when a regulator asks that. My consultants and our consultants that we work with will walk those advisors and those CCOs through the entire practice, right? From a year-end compliance perspective, we're checking with them every nook and cranny as to what we think the regulators are effectively asking or will be asking them through their first exam, their second exam, hopefully, and put them at bay.
Okay, sounds good. So something else that we're really kind of known for at goRIA.com is specificity. So,
sure.
The advisors watching, they're in the broker-dealer space, they're clearly curious about the RIA space. What can you tell them as far as the timeline from the point that they're like, I definitely want to go RIA, sure, to the point they're registered? What does it cost? Give them some general thoughts. I know we can't get into too much specifics, but some ballpark of what they could expect. And then what does it look like on an ongoing basis?
Yeah, it's a great question to ask. A lot of it comes down to the complexity of the outfit. Will they be registered with the SEC? Will they have a head count of 10, 15, 20 or more? Or are they a solopreneur, right? Where they're registered with a state registrant and it's a one-person, two-person opportunity with an admin. Those data points will set up our kind of ongoing service for them, and it ranges anywhere from say 5,000 to 15,000 on the registration. And the ongoing piece, it really depends on, again, the complexity. How much do you need your outsourced compliance team? And if it's just you need access to us every once in a while, you need access to our platform to know what you need to be doing, you're at a lower cost point on an ongoing basis. versus say you have some complexity of a significant headcount. You're in alternative investments and illiquid securities, and there's more due diligence requirements on you. You might want to leverage us a little bit more at that point, right? So that kind of ticks up, and then one of the big topics in the industry from our service perspective is, when do you choose to go the full outsource model, right?
Right.
So that then ticks up the price tag a little bit more, right? Because then you're leveraging full expertise of someone that is taking your compliance obligations off of you. There's some risk to that. What we've uncovered, what the regulators are looking for, that individual truly needs to have their kind of hands on the wheel. They need to know how you operate. So long as they're in your hair, so to speak, on a regular basis, you're generally fine. But those OCCOs out there, they really do need to know and have control of not just the compliance program, but how's a firm operating? What are the services that you're providing? What's your clientele makeup? Because that's your risk profile, right? That the regulators ultimately are very good at digging into.
Yeah, so that's something that actually kind of drew us to your firm is frankly you have different levels.
Sure.
Do you want the basic, kind of the moderate, or the full bells and whistle? Yep. I think that's a really good service model. The other thing too, and I've been blissfully disconnected from compliance. Like, my job is not compliance. Thankfully, we have a great compliance officer, so I don't have to deal with that. Right. And she's been interacting with you guys. But I was curious, what exactly is happening here? And I think for the first time ever, I logged on to your Advisor Cloud.
Yes, Advisor Cloud 360.
Very cool stuff.
It is.
And you guys really seem to be leveraging technology quite a bit. And I was talking with Chris, as you probably know, about some other automated ways of checking trades. Talk about that, because I love how you guys are leveraging the technology.
Right, so at the end of the day, we see that there's a big shift. There's a lot of providers out there on the technology front, whether it be AI or just organic technology to be able to run your compliance program, and there's a lot of efficiencies there. There is a bit of a price tag with that, but at the end of the day, if it's right for you and how you want to run and operate your business, it absolutely makes a ton of sense. So long as, and I'm going to keep coming back to this, that there's oversight, that there's supervision in place. You can't just let the technology run your practice, right? There's got to be someone that's looking at those exception reports or those red flags that pop up within the technology and truly understand, all right, what am I looking at? Is this truly an impactful metric for me to be worried about from a risk management perspective, right? So the biggest thing that we kind of go out, compliance is certainly, as I said earlier, in every function, but we really want to look at what's the controls, what's the governance within the firm, right? A lot of advisors that they kind of start their firm with this kind of concept of psychosis by baptism, where they're kind of led into believe, oh, this is just easy, right? It's just running your compliance program. But at the end of the day, you really kind of know what's happening and how do you present this to a regulator. Or oftentimes our conversations to really get into our clients and to buy into what we're trying to sell. At the end of the day, it's do you want to manage your litigation risk?
Right.
Which is a big thing. Advisors don't think about that. Your compliance program is going to be able to help on that litigation factor if at the end of the day you have a client relationship that kind of goes south, right?
That's right. And look, you could be running the cleanest book in the world, and I've even had this myself. It doesn't take much for someone to file a lawsuit,
yep.
Right? And I tell you what, having that documentation is key to defend yourself, and you need to have that. And so, although it is scary, when you're moving out of a firm that might have a 100-person compliance team,
yep.
Now it's you, but the good news is there's so many resources in this space, folks like yourselves,
sure.
that can provide the support for compliance. We're going to talk to other folks for TAMPs. So anything that you have being done for you right now at one of the big banks, you can have done for you. And what I love about it is there's competition,
sure.
Right? So what makes you guys great is you're not the only show in town. Right? So that competition makes you guys fantastic. And same thing for the TAMPs, and same thing for XYZ service provider. Yep. And that's what you do not have in the broker-dealer space, right?
No.
In the BD space, you're not like, well, what other technology can I look at? They're like, this is your technology.
Yep.
Whereas here at Schwab, and I'm looking over at the exhibition floor there's probably 30 or so technology vendors that I could choose from.
Sure.
And the benefit is every one of those 30 is going to make the other 29 even better. And I think that's what's great about this space.
We started this conversation by you making the comment saying, why should a broker go independent, right? At the end of the day, you want to control your destiny, you want to control your future. How best to be able to do that by going independent, choosing vendors that are going to help you so that you don't feel like you're in a knife fight in a closet, right? At the end of the day, you have support. You have firms like us that we truly know the ins and outs of every single one of our clients, regardless of service level. We track those data points. We understand what's going on in those firms. We want to be on the front lines with you. We want to be that partner so that you don't feel like your back's against the wall and nobody's helping you.
All right, sounds good. So I know we have you just for another couple of minutes.
Sure.
Maybe some parting thoughts. Like, what is maybe one thing that every advisor looking to go RIA from a compliance perspective, what should they really do and what should they really not do?
I was recently on a panel and I was asked a very similar question, and I always left the panel with this one thought, and that's be curious. Right, understand. While you might be in the industry for 30 years or so, you might, be coming from Mother Merrill, as you mentioned earlier. You don't know what you think you know, right? It's at the end of the day, the clients of ours that we work well with are those that ask questions, right? So continue to be curious. Understand what all of your vendor providers are going to be providing you, both from a legal contextual perspective, but then also what's it going to mean for my operations and what risk potentially is this bringing you. If you're not curious, you're not going to be asking those questions. You're going to leave, risk managers like us, in the dark to really be able to help you.
All right, that's a great place to end it up. Sort of a Ted Lasso type of sentiment for those of you that watch Ted Lasso. There's
Absolutely.
that famous scene where he's doing the darts. Yep.
Exactly.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, so Conor, thanks so much for joining us. And that's it for today's coverage. This is day one. This is sort of our half day. We have a full day tomorrow, Wednesday, and a full day on Thursday, so stay tuned. So on behalf of goRIA, fueled by Investment News, I'm Chuck Vela, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. And Conor, thanks again.
Thank you, Chuck.
Appreciate it.